Hey homies, how's it going? Welcome back to another Dirtbag review. So anyway, we're going to be talking about Crybaby from 1990. It was directed by John Waters, This vato's done some crazy movies. He's got a style all his own. You know who he is. He's the guy with the crazy mustache, you know what I mean? But anyway, let me go back a little bit. I was born in the early 80s, just after the 70s. So I got to experience a little bit of the 80s stuff and like the 90s stuff, and this was definitely one of those movies that like caught my attention even at an early age, you know what I mean? I don't know, it was just things like even growing up watching Good Time or Happy Days, Good Times, Happy Days, Grease, and movies like this, it kind of painted a picture of what the 50s were for me, you know what I mean? And, obviously this movie takes place in 1954, so it was really cool to see, like, people's interpretation of that time, and for me, I thought, like, being a little kid, I was like, wow, people back in the 50s were always singing and dancing, homie. But anyway, real quick, I'm gonna go ahead and play you guys a clip from the movie, just to refresh your memory, excuse me, and then we'll get into it about, like, the quick synopsis and all that stuff, tell you who's in it, all right? So anyway, let's watch it. Oh, and sorry for being in the mobile lab again, and also, please like, share, and subscribe. Share with your friends, because sharing is caring, homies. Leave me a comment down below, because it helps me in the algorithm, all right? And so anyway, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and then hit that bell notification, that way whenever I upload it. It's probably on this side, actually, right here, yeah? All right, so anyway, I'll watch out after the clip, all right? Feed me home. So anyway, this movie has a gigantic cast, so I couldn't possibly cover every single person that's in this movie, but I did my best, but I've had too many bunks in the head to remember too much, so just bear with me as we go through it, all right? So anyway, in the lead role, we got Johnny Depp as Crybaby Walker. He's an orphan, and he's also the leader of the Drapes, which are the greasers in John Waters' little movie universe, and he's like the big bad boy of the whole story, and he's kind of a juvenile delinquent. His whole deal is, like whenever he does something bad, one single tear comes out, but later in the movie they explain what was going on, why he is the way he is, his whole modus operandi, as they say, But along with him, we have his sister Ricky Lake playing Pepper. Well, not his sister in real life. His Ricky Lake is playing Crybaby's sister Pepper Walker. You know what I mean? With this tough mama. She's got 2 kids, one on the way. But she's rough and tough. She's like one of the crew as well. So actually, for this movie, we're gonna run through we're gonna go ahead and tell you guys all the Drapes, and then we'll get into the synopsis, because it'll just be easier that way. You know what I mean? All right. So then we have Tracy Lords, the legendary infamous Tracy Lords. She plays Wanda Woodward. She's also one of the Drapes, and she's got like how do I explain this? I don't know. She's got, like, probably in my opinion in this movie, probably the best style. She's just like really pretty in this movie. I like her hair, her getup. It's just like, they did a really good job with her character. Plus, she's like tough as nails, which is really funny because her parents are like so nice, and I think that was like I mean, that's John Waters' way of making movies, you know, because he's like, I don't want to say, well, he's weird, but, you know, like, just the way he looks at things and the way he explains things through his films. Like, you know, this is one of the cool ones, you know, because, like, it's about teenage rebellion, you know what I mean? Even though all these people are, like, in their 20s. I think Johnny Depp was, like, 27 when this movie was made. But anyway, he's supposed to be like a teenager. My bad, homies. I'm sorry for laughing so much. But anyway, yeah, no, so, you know, she's, like, you know, this tough as nails, you know, like, greaser chick and stuff. And her parents are, like, you know, all super supportive. And, you know, like, they're just like, oh, you know... it's okay. But, you know, and she's like, God, Mom, and God, Dad, you know, it's like, you know, freaking out. But it's like, you know how it is, homies. So anyway, so we got her. And then we also have Kim McGuire as Hatchet Face, who's also tough as nails chick, but she's... Man, this poor girl, they made her look so horrible in this movie. But she's scary, you know? You know, that's like her whole shtick, you know? And her boyfriend is Milton Hackett, played by Darren E. Burroughs, you know what I mean? So that's our Drapes crew, you know? So anyway, so the whole movie starts with the school gang shots and stuff. So you see all their reactions, all the Drapes and stuff as they're coming in. And they drag in Crybaby Walker to get his. And he's sitting next to... Allison Vernon Williams, played by Amy Locan, who is his love interest in the movie, you know, and she's a square, you know, and she's part of this, you know, debutante society kind of deal, you know, where the squares, you know, like they're like the clean cut, the doo-wops guys, you know, and a cappella groups, whereas, you know, the Drapes are like, you know, the greasers and their fast cars and rock and roll, you know, Elvis Presley all the way back in the day, you know. But anyway, so, and her boyfriend at the time is Baldwin, played by Stephen Mailer, and he is the, I guess, the head of the squares, you know. And basically, you know, like, he's trying to be Allison's boyfriend, you know, and he's got all these ideas. He can't keep his hands off of her, you know. It's funny because, like, they all take off, and you know, Johnny's or Crybaby is all into this chick, right? So he's like trying to impress her and stuff, and they're driving along, and Allison, Baldwin, and her grandmother are all in this car driving, you know, and they go cruising right next to each other, alongside each other, and he's all singing to her across the way and stuff. And, you know, this is really getting Allison going, you know, but it's freaking out Grandma, and it's pissing off Baldwin, you know. So there's that rivalry buildup, you know. So anyway, this movie is kind of a musical, so, you know, there's a lot of singing and dancing. You know, Allison's going to this one, to their little society. I can't remember exactly what it's called. My bad, guys, but, you know, they're all over there in their squareness, being squares and singing their songs, you know. And then it cuts to Turkey Point, which is where we meet Susan Tyrrell and Iggy Pop's characters, who are Ramona Ricketts and Belvedere Ricketts, respectively, you know. And these guys are... it's so this all takes place in Baltimore in 1954, you know. So it's like they're kind of redneckish, you know. In fact, it's called the Redneck Riviera in the movie, but we all know that's not where the Redneck Riviera is. It's just a joke. But you know, so everybody that goes there, it's like a swimming hole. It's a party spot, you know. And when you're rolling up in the movie, there's some people, like, you know, like evangelizing, you know, and they're like sitting there like, oh, you know, repent, don't come here, it's all evil, you guys are, you know, doing bad stuff. And it turns out that those evangelicals are actually Milton Hackett's parents, you know, one of the Drapes, and they're calling him out on it too. They're like, oh, look at her only child being a turd. Basically, you know what I mean? So anyway, we go on and stuff, and then you meet Ramona Ricketts and Belvedere Ricketts. Ramona Ricketts is Crybaby and Pepper's grandma, you know, and she adopted him after you know, they were orphaned. So, you know, and they deal in like stolen parts and scrap, you know what I mean? So they're giving out stuff to these people, you know, to the Drapes gang, you know, and they end up giving Crybaby a I'm pretty sure it's period correct too, but it's a K model Harley Davidson. It's the original Sportster before the Sportster was a Sportster, and man, this thing is bad, you know what I mean? For like being old, outdated material, you know, like whoever restored that bike did a great job. It was awesome, you know? So anyway, so Crybaby jumps on the bike. He's like, yeah, this is awesome. And you know what else? I met a girl. So he's going to go get her, right? So he goes out to Squareland and goes and gets Allison and stuff, right? And he's actually able to convince Grandma to let her go. So they take off, they go party, he goes and sings, you know, and they have the jukebox jamboree down at Turkey Creek, you know, and it's pretty cool. They're all having a good time. Like, you know, there's great song, you know, the music in this movie really is amazing, guys, and I gotta speed it up because I'm taking forever on this one because it's just such a great movie. There's so much stuff going on, so I'm gonna go ahead and try to speed it up from now on. But anyway, like the whole time that, you know, they're partying and having a good time, the squares show up and they start wrecking everybody's cars and stuff, and they set Crybaby's bike on fire and run into the jukebox jamboree and blow up the jukebox with it, you know, and a big old fight ensues. But right before that, we hear why Crybaby's Crybaby, but you guys gotta watch that movie to find out the reason, because I don't want to spoil that for you guys, because that is a pretty funny little scene, you know. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was meant to be funny, but it's like the subject matter is not very funny. There's also a really interesting scene, very John Waters scene, where everybody's making out and they're like really showing you how they're making out, you know, like the tongue action and everything, and it's like very long and gratuitous, and it's just very John Waters-esque, but definitely worth a watch, homies. Must see TV. So anyway, you know, big fight ensues. Everybody gets locked up. Even Allison gets dragged off, even though the squares are trying to be like, oh, she's one of ours, you know. They get dragged off, you know. And pretty much everybody gets let loose to their parents, you know. There's a really funny scene with Tracy Lord's Wanda Woodward when she's sitting there telling her parents to buzz off, but she doesn't say that exactly, and they bleep the word twice, and then the third time they don't. So it was pretty funny, you know, because like just shows the innocence of her parents compared to her. But yeah, so you know, the judge is being like kind of not lenient per se, but he's like letting everybody be released to their parents except for Crybaby. He sends them up the river to be in like boys jail till he's 21, you know. So as we cut out of there, and he gets drug out of jail, and he's swearing that he'll be back for Allison, this other chick that's been on his on his nuts for a minute runs up, and she's like saying like, oh, he's gonna have my baby and stuff, you know, right in front of the cameras, you know. So it makes it look like her and Crybaby are an item, which pisses off Allison, who kind of takes her back to Baldwin, you know. And it's a big old mess, you know. But Crybaby gets locked up. He tries to break out several times. We actually meet a very interesting guard. In the building, it comes up as the hateful guard, but it's William Dafoe, and he's got such a great scene. He's such a great actor, and it's such a short scene, and you never see him again, you know? It's like a couple of minutes, but his scene in that movie is great, you know? Then we get another musical number, a couple more musical numbers, more breakout attempts. They go and try to break him out. We also get a scene with the Drapes trying to abscond with Allison from this amusement park, you know? And they all run down to the jail to try to save Crybaby and his hair, because they're about to give him a shave. And you know, and the judge falls in love with Allison's grandmother, and you know, they release Crybaby, and you know, it's a happily ever after, another musical scene, musical number, and a really cool end scene that I also don't want to ruin for you, but it's definitely worth a watch. Let's just say chicken, all right? So anyway, I'm sorry this one's been so long, but it's like, dude, I could probably go on for hours talking about this movie because there's so much stuff, and like, just like the cinematography, the color palette, just how bright and crisp, and it's a beautifully shot movie. Just the 90s of it all, trying to be a 50s movie, you know. We've talked about that kind of stuff before, where I think it was in the Stoned Age, where I was saying, like, you know, this is definitely a product of its time, but that was way more wacky, way more 90s, you know, as a 70s movie. But anyway, that's beside the point. If you guys want to watch that video, you definitely should. But no, seriously, this movie was like great, you know, and it's one of Johnny Depp's earlier movies. So like I said, you know, definitely check it out. And anyway, I was Watcho. Please like, share, and subscribe. Share it with your friends, because sharing is caring. Leave me a comment down below. Tell me if you've seen this movie, what you guys think about this movie. Tell me what you guys think of John Waters, you know what I mean? That guy's a trip. So anyway, I was Watcho, homies. Firme.